I talk a lot about how to overcome the blockages that prevent you from starting and prevent you from understanding that you are worthy to be a creator and to pursue that as a life path. But what about afterwards? At some point I've probably talked about philosophy. Philosophy really helped me. I really love philosophy, and but one concept that I've really been struggling with over the last 3 years that I've kind of dipped in and out of is Taoism and the concept of flow. So I ask you just for now to think of life as this grandiose, infinite field of energy, right? And we are energetic beings. We are made of energy. Everything around us is made of energy. And I believe that we can interact with the energy around us and sort of manipulate it. Have you ever had an experience where you've had a crush on somebody and you really like them and you want them so bad and you're messaging them, or at least I've done this, right? I'm just using this as an example. You're messaging them, waiting for them to respond, and maybe they're being super avoidant, and there's this sort of push and pull energy, and it's you're trying to pull them in, but they're being repelled by you. The concept of flow is allowing things to unfold and allowing things to not be repelled by you, right? You've made the decision to follow your dreams and you've started that journey, and now you're waiting for things to happen. And it's that same sort of feeling of you want this so bad, you're trying to drag it towards you, and it keeps seeming to be repelled by you. And it's because that energy cannot flow to you because you're blocking it. I spent a long time really wanting things to happen and sort of having that energy of trying to pull things towards me, but they just kept seeming to be repelled. And it wasn't until I let go that things started to happen for me. And once you sort of tune into that, you can understand when things aren't meant for you. Because I always like to think of that example of when I would have a crush on somebody as a teenager, and I would sort of push for them to like me, or I'd be messaging them and waiting patiently for them to respond and thinking about them all the time and wanting and craving and needing, and it never happened, obviously. There's a repelling energy there, but it was divine protection. I invite you to think of these things as divine protection. If something doesn't work out and you have that gut feeling that it's not going to work out, but you keep trying anyway because you really want it to, but it never does, and it's because it's not meant for you. And that can be a hard pill to swallow, especially if you're on the creative path and you want something really, really, really badly. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen in the way that you want it to. It's not up to us to figure out the path of our life. It's up to us to pick a direction and to put one foot in front of the other and try things out and fail and then try again. And I really like the quote, "Shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you will lay amongst the stars," or something like that. And it's so true. If you really picture that in your head, what that would look like if that was you, and you're shooting for the moon, and then you land amongst the stars, and you're like, damn, I missed the moon, but I did something. I put a song out there. I made content, or I did something where I put myself out there in some kind of way. And even though I failed, and even though I didn't get the desired outcome, I'm still amongst the stars, and I'm still so much closer to the moon than if I was still on Earth. You want to make sure that you're learning everything that you can from the journey. And that means failing, and that means not getting what you want. The blockages will always teach you something, though, because it's about being self-inquisitive. Why do I want this thing? Why do I feel like if I had this, that I would be complete? You know, because it's not about needing something to complete you or feeling like your life isn't relevant unless you have it. And trust me, I've felt that before. I know what that feels like, especially when you are pursuing a creative career. You feel like unless you have success, unless you have specific accolades and things like that, that your life isn't relevant, that you aren't relevant, that you aren't good enough, that you aren't, and so what I want you to do is I want you to just take that and be self-inquisitive about it. Why do I feel like if I had this, that my life would be complete? What about my life right now is wrong? Because there's always going to be another mountain to climb, and you want to make sure that once you get to that first goal, that you're standing there and basking in everything that you've achieved, and not thinking that you're still not good enough or you're still not complete unless you get to that next mountain. Because then you're constantly chasing something, you're constantly yearning for something that is outside of yourself, when really everything that you need is within you. And I've had to learn this on this path, because there have been moments where I have achieved something and then felt completely empty, and I'm like, why but I have people around me that say, like, Hayley, you need to like enjoy this. And I've even seen this in other people, where they'll achieve something really great, they'll shoot for the moon and get to the moon, and then they're just kind of on to the next thing, and they don't even sort of take any time to bask in the things that they've accomplished. And I think that that's really a toxic mindset. We really need to think about having a strong connection to ourselves and understanding that we are inherently valuable. We can want something and go for it, but just because we don't have it now doesn't mean that we aren't worthy of love and acceptance from other people and from ourselves especially. It's not easy to get that concept down, especially if you're sort of comparing yourself to other people and you're like, well, they are so valuable because they have this thing that I want, therefore I'm not valuable. That's just us putting them on a pedestal, and they don't have to be up on that pedestal. We put them up there, and it's sort of, it's a normal thing that happens. We measure ourselves up against other people. We even do it with people that are bad. We talk about how bad somebody is, because subconsciously it makes us feel better about ourselves. It reaffirms our morals and who we are, and that we would never do something like that. And it's just the same alternatively, comparing ourselves or talking about somebody that is better than us, or that we perceive as better than us, that has what we want, and we put them on this pedestal, and we're like, oh, well, I don't have that. I mean, maybe we might even talk bad about them to bring them down to our level, to make us feel better about ourselves, but internally, or maybe externally, talking about them in a way where, it's like, oh God, like, they're so this and they're so that, and I wish I could be like that, and things like that. And it's just another blow that we give ourselves, right? I think that having self-compassion and self-love is really important during the phases where nothing's happening yet, because that's it. That's all it is. It's just nothing's happening yet. It doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It just means it's not happening right now. And you have to allow for things to unfold, and you want to be surprised by things, and the best things and the best outcomes are going to be surprises, and they're going to be in packages that you're just not going to expect them to look like. And that's the most fun part about it. But if you're packing a fuss because it doesn't look exactly like somebody else's, or it's not it's not the right mentality to have, because that will just prevent you from being happy. It is really important to understand, like, you are inherently valuable just as you are right now. This person that holds all of those dreams, all of those things that you yearn for, that you know are going to fulfill you in life, and that are going to be the things that you will look back on when you're old or older and be really proud of. But you have to remember, you're going to be equally proud of the person that made the choice and that went through the hard yards just to get there. And I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for Hayley a few years ago that was struggling with her self-worth and her self-perception and doing cognitive behavioral therapy and doing the work and taking care of herself and figuring things out and not knowing how to do things but trying anyway, and with that, doing those things over and over again, you're building that courage, you're building that worthiness and that understanding that it's okay to not know how to do things. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to fail and learn from your mistakes. It's okay to do that in front of other people, because the commitment is way more important than other people's perception of you trying something and maybe looking silly. Like, I probably looked so ridiculous for some of the things that I did, during that period of my life. But I don't care. Like, it got me where I am today, so it doesn't matter. And I always knew that. Like, I was never thinking about things in the moment. I was always considering future me and always doing things for the future me, knowing that if I was trying things and failing, even if it was in a public setting, that I would still be grateful for that in the future. So you have to understand that if you're in this stage where you are going for something, you've got this goal and you're going for it because you want it, and you feel like you're not complete without it, or that you're not worthy enough without it, or that you're not valuable without it, that you are. Even the person that I was when I was at my lowest, I'm grateful for that too, because that self-hatred, that jealous, envious girl that just absolutely hated herself, was super self-deprecating, lazy, did not have any, was very afraid. Just on a core level was very, very, very afraid of what people thought of her, afraid of trying, afraid of everything, but then seeing other people do what she wanted to do and being so jealous because she couldn't do it, because she felt like she couldn't. Speaking about my past self in the third person, but you get what I mean. Like, I'm still grateful for that because I appreciate everything that I have now. From like that whole experience, it was so humbling. Humility is such a great thing. I mean, I've come in contact with people that share the same philosophies as me, but are completely egotistical and, just narcissistic tendencies and all. And it's very different, because they sort of will say it outwardly and say like, I'm so great and I do great things and I'm doing great and I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. And it's great to think that about yourself. It's great to believe in yourself at that capacity. But, there's a difference there between boasting about it and living it and having that quiet humility and inner knowing that you're going to do something great and you are doing something great by trying and failing and getting back up again and trying and failing. Because eventually it's going to work and no one can stop that except for yourself. And that's, that's another really good point, only you can stop yourself once you start this. I have definitely had people that have tried to bully me out of doing what I do, and I never let it stop me because it's all about what's in here. And what's up in here is the undying passion and urge to live a great life, and no one can take that away from me. No one can put that fire out unless I let them, and I will not, and neither should you. And if anyone has anything to say about you doing things for your future self and going for it. They can sit on the sidelines and be your cheerleader, you know, and they can stay there and you will keep going. You know, you want to stay in your own lane. You want to have your head down, focusing on where you're going. Go one step ahead at a time, and know that you're going to get somewhere eventually. And it is only a matter of time, but I need you to understand, please, that you are inherently valuable. You are worthy of your dreams. You are worthy of acknowledging the fire that lives within inside of you, that spark, that inspiration, that desire to birth things into reality for other people to experience, and to do it with other people, to find your community, to, you know, just leave the world a better place than how you found it. And that always starts from within, you know. Having the right mindset and self-belief and self-perception will have a butterfly effect, and it'll rub off on other people, just like I hope that happens with these videos as well. Like, I hope to help other people because I helped myself. Believe in your vision, even if you can't see it in your reality yet. Believe in it. Believe in your future self, and do it for them. Do it for your past self prior to making the decision to change and to follow your dreams, and do it for your future self that is grateful for the work that you're doing right now. You are so important, so much more important than you might think right now, because you're the pillar and you are the foundation that will help build your future success. And having a foundation is not something to overlook. So I really hope that this video helped, and I'll see you in the next one.